What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right, so before I get into this video, I want to give a shout out to the brother Aaron for the $20 donation via the PayPal. And he had a two-part video request. I interpreted it as a two-part. He wanted me to give my opinion on first, how good would Larry Bird be in this soft era of basketball? No hand checking. You can travel, carry the ball, palm the ball. Wide open spacing. What would they be able to do in today's game? Um, I've always said that, in my opinion, the era in which Larry Bird would have had the most difficulty, and I still think he'd have been a great player, but I think he would have had more difficulty in the dead ball era. And the reason why I said that is because that era, late 90s, early 2000s, mid 2000s, especially, that was the peak of the dead ball era. That was probably the most athletic the NBA ever was. You know, you keep hearing today falsely that the players today are more athletic than ever before, and that's not the case because the game is more predicated not on athleticism, although a lot of these guys are very athletic, but the game is more predicated on quote unquote skills, you know, especially perimeter skills, shooting the basketball from outside, 3-point shooting, ball handling, one-on-one basketball skills. These things were important in the 90s, but it was more of an emphasis on athleticism. Being able to separate from your defender, being able to get that first step, that burst. That was more important in the 90s and early 2000s. That's why most of your great scorers also happen to be either one of two things: either athletic, were they able to create that separation from their defender, or they were they had a distinct size advantage. Now Bird would have a height advantage in the late '90s and 2000s, but the spacing wasn't quite the same. Defenders could be more physical, and and because of the pace of the game, I tend to think his numbers would have been a little bit down. I think, you know, he would have probably averaged more around 22. I would say 22, maybe 10.5 rebounds and 7 assists in that era. 6 to 7 assists. I still think he'd been great, but I think his numbers would have been down. Today, well, you've pretty much eliminated the big man, the traditional big man. I mean, we still have them, but you don't have the dominant shot blocking, paint patrolling, rim protecting bigs anymore. Not really. You got Victor Wembanyama, but as you see, he tends to want to drift to the perimeter offensively, and defensively, he likes to roam a lot. Um, Although he does get a lot of a lot of shots, obviously. So Bird is 6'9.5", standing bare feet. So Bird would essentially be a big today, 230 pounds or so, and he has more space to operate, and he's able to do more things with the basketball. So I tend to look at Larry Bird as look at Nikola Jokic and see what he's doing, and just shrink him down a little bit, improve his outside shooting and his defensive abilities. And that's pretty much what Larry Bird will be doing today. Larry Bird was a great rebounder, I don't know if he would have been leading the league in rebounding, but he would have been like Jokic had because he's a little bit smaller. But when he was a power forward, Bird routinely averaged double-digit rebounds. So I wouldn't put it past that he would average between 9 to 10.5 rebounds, maybe even approaching 11 in today's game. Guys don't really work at the art of rebounding. They don't really have that passion for it anymore. Um, his playmaking is non-pareil. So I think if the offense ran through him, as it does with the star players today, I don't see why he doesn't average 9 to 10 plus assists per game like these other guys. Scoring is what is really going to go up. If the offense is running through Larry Bird like it does these other guys, with his efficiency, with his shooting ability from outside. Remember, Bird shot 37.6% from outside in an era where it was good to shoot 30% from downtown. And he didn't really practice threes, except for maybe in big games before the 3-point contest. He didn't practice threes. That was just pure shooting ability. So I would imagine when you look at the fact that after 1985, when he shot them with more regularity, and he shot about 39.8% from downtown from 85 onward, I could see him with the spacing today shooting 42, 43% from downtown, routinely with 50% from the field, because he wasn't a guy that liked to take a lot of bad shots, but he would take shots when the team needed him to take shots. Bad shooting performances didn't define Larry Bird. Tremendous leader, one of the great clutch performers of all time, tremendous free throw shooter, could post up, which is a lost art in today's game, could score facing up or with his back to the basket, and was able to do certain things with the basketball that he couldn't do during that time period. So if we talk about numbers, like I said, it depends on circumstances. Is he on a championship team with other all stars, like in the 80s, early 90s? Is he on a bad team, a rebuilding team, being a youthful player, wanting to assert himself as an all time great? If he's on a championship team, I'm just throwing numbers out there: 27 points, 10 rebounds, maybe 8 assists, 1.6 steals or something like that. Maybe 50, 53% from the field, 42% from downtown, 88% of the line, 89% of the line, maybe something like that. Now, if he's on a bad team, which require him to take more shots, which means defenses are going to be keyed more on him because there are other guys out there that can spread the defense out a little bit more. His efficiency might go down a little bit. I would say he'll average on a bad team or a rebuilding team or a young budding team, maybe possibly leading the league in scoring. 31, 32 points a game, uh, 9 rebounds. I'd say 7 assists, 7.5 assists, 51% from the field, 40% from downtown, between 87 to 92% from the line, 1.9 steals. Probably would be amongst the leaders every year in win shares, um, PER rating, all those stats. And he's a tough bugger, man. Pardon the old expression. He's tough. There's no low management with Larry Bird. No low management. If he can go out there and play, he's gonna go play. Short of being hospitalized or broken bones, he's gonna go out there and play. And I'm not just putting up numbers. I think he would be a championship player. I don't know how many championships he win in today's league, um, but I do know that he had a mind for basketball. Players like to play with him uh, because of the fact he was perceived as a not selfish guy. Although certain guys who were gunners sometimes complained that they didn't get enough shots themselves. Danny Ainge. But other than that, most of his teammates loved him. So that's going to attract talent to play with him. So I would see him winning multiple championships in this era too. And by the way, because of our knowledge, improved knowledge of stress on the body with certain activities, they would probably find that he was predisposed to a back condition. So he wouldn't have probably shoveled his mother's gravel yard, whatever the hell it was that day when he strained the hell out of his back and damn near broke his back and fucked his career up slowly but surely. Improved medicines, improved technology. I think now he probably plays into his late 30s. But the way that he played basketball, he's not going to play 22, 25 years like these clowns today who are scamming the system and trying to get many paydays as possible. But I can see him playing to about 36, 37. But anyway, that's all I got to say about it. Tell me what you guys think.
Raw Fool TV.